Malaysia, a motorcyclist paradise with winding roads, a huge sense of freedom, and new sights everywhere you look. A country with one foot in the future and the other rooted firmly in history and tradition. It's a jewel in Southeast Asia. This week, I explore the Old English hilltop retreat of Frasers Hill, go head over heels in a Zorb ball, and take to the skies over Kuala Lumpur. I'm Jaime Dempsey, and I spent a lot of my life working behind the bar in one of the world's hippest cities, Los Angeles. But when the night's over and the sun comes up, I seek adventure of a completely different kind.
Maybe it wouldn't be so bad. We both know where we're going. We could forget about the future, and our lives would be the better for it.
Last time, I got an up-close experience of the Malaysian jungle in a 4x4. With the thrill of that adventure still buzzing in my head, I continued south towards Kuala Lumpur, the gateway to my next destination, Frasers Hill. It was 40 degrees Celsius in Ipoh, and I was looking forward to some cooler mountain air. Frasers Hill is the perfect place for that. It has year-round temperatures between 17 degrees and 27 degrees Celsius. No wonder the colonial British chose this as a cooling weekend getaway. Frasers Hill is around 70 miles from Kuala Lumpur, high in the Tidawangsa mountain range. It's perfect motorcycling territory. The picturesque but demanding mountain roads really force you to concentrate, especially through the bends. I can literally feel the temperature becoming cooler, and by the time I'm almost at the top, it's a refreshing 26 degrees. Frasers Hill was built as a weekend retreat by the British in the 1890s, mostly to get away from the heat of the tropics. To this day, people still refer to it as a little piece of England. The tropical rainforest creates a sublime forest of moss-draped trees, filmy ferns, and feels almost prehistoric. It's an amazing ride, and the narrow winding road fringed by dense rainforest feels fantastic on a Harley. Historically, the area around Frasers Hill will always be remembered for one famous incident that took place during the Malayan Emergency. 3 years into the guerrilla war between Commonwealth Armed Forces and the Malayan National Liberation Army, it was here that the assassination of a prominent British official made world headlines. In 1951, a British official named Sir Henry Gurney was traveling up to Frasers Hill when he was suddenly ambushed by a group of communists that shot and killed him. According to his wife, he sacrificed his life for her life and the life of their driver. But the communists say that this was just a routine ambush, and they didn't even know that it was the High Commissioner that they'd killed until they read about it in the news reports later. I think it's really cool to stop at these historical sites and really think about what happened here. This is still the only road leading through this part of the country, and very little has changed since those early days. You really get a sense of what it must have been like all those years ago. I finally made it up to the road leading up to Frasers Hill, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's so twisty and turny, though, that it's hard to catch this view, so I had to pull over. And without the roar of the engine, I can hear all the birds and the bugs, all the wildlife of the jungle. It's hard to believe that this jungle has been here for 130 million years. The final climb to the top of Frasers Hill follows the original single-lane road that can only accommodate one line of cars at a time. In the old days, to get traffic up and down the hill, cars coming up could only use it during the odd hours, and cars coming down the even hours. These days, there's another route down, so I could let the Harley rip without worrying about odd or even hours. I still had to watch out though, because the road was not just tight, it was slippery, moist from the mist and moss. Arriving in the village itself, the first thing that looks out of place is the cool mini clock tower and the roundabout. It really does look like a quaint English town, right down to the houses. You have to remind yourself you're in Malaysia. Frasers Hill is a popular weekend getaway. It's a favorite with bird watchers, hikers, and families looking for an unusual holiday, closer to home. While the hiking sounds great, I'm looking for something a little more relaxing and traditionally English. When in Rome, as they say. Now what could be more English than tea and scones in the garden? This quiet little hilltop town is the perfect place to get away from the heat below. And once you get up here and see these Tudor-style cottages and beautiful gardens, you really feel like you've stepped back in time. So I've come here to enjoy the old smokehouse's famous tea and scones. But after tea, I think I'll take a look around and see if this place is as English on the inside as it is on the outside. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
Hi, I'm Hafiz. How are you?
Very nice to meet you. Thank you. So I've read a little bit about the old smokehouse. I've heard it's got a lot of history. I'd love to take a look around the inside. Do you think you can show me around?
Definitely. I'll be pleased to show you around. This building was erected back in 1924 from the funds provided by the St. John's of Jerusalem, and it was basically used by the ex-British forces who were based in Malaya as a retreat to cool themselves down.
The smokehouse is the centerpiece of Frasers Hill and is a beautifully unique building that has echoes of the colonial age in every single brick. Its restaurant is famous around the country, and travelers head here from far and wide to experience its ambiance. In the past, the smokehouse served as a rest home for injured British troops to convalesce away from the ravages of the front line and in surroundings reminiscent of home. There is only one TV here, as guests are encouraged to disconnect from the outside world and really unwind. So I imagine the bar room has seen a lot of action.
Yes, definitely. It's one of my favorite places over here. And during Christmas, we get expats from Singapore and Malaysia coming up here, just like a family getting together during Christmas, because that's the only point of time when smokehouse is actually decorated and lit up. And this fireplace over here, it goes on from the whole part of November till December, burning with real pine firewood.
Cold and misty evenings around cozy log fires are just part of what makes this place unique. It has a homely feel, more like somebody's house than a hotel. It only has 16 rooms, 8 of which are plush bespoke suites. One thing I love about this place is you really get a sense that the British soldiers could really feel at home here. And then I realized that's what was so different about this place. It doesn't feel like a hotel at all. It has such a laid-back, homely atmosphere that it really feels like a home away from home. Except my home is not nearly so grand. So I noticed that each of the rooms have a different name on the door. What is that from?
Well, because basically it all depends with the room. Every room is differently designed. Alexander is basically named after Alexander the Great.
Oh, that makes sense. This room was great. I felt like I was in an English country manor. The rooms are beautifully appointed, and each one reflects a particular theme. Alexander had pictures of horses, a rich burgundy color scheme, and even a king-size mahogany bed. This would be the perfect choice for an English country gentleman. I love it, but it's very masculine. Do you have anything a little more feminine?
Yes, I do have a honeymoon suite. This way, please. Welcome to the honeymoon suite.
Oh, wow. Now this is more ladylike.
Laura Honeymoon Suite is basically furnished with a 4-poster brass bed. We try our very best to keep this place as English as possible.
Everything here has been imported from England, and no effort has been spared to make it feel completely authentic. Even the bed linen and the floral motif make it feel like a genuine English country home. I would have liked to have stayed longer at the smokehouse. It was a great place to unwind and relax after the constant stress of the road, but I had to keep moving. And as I slowly rode through the quaint little hill town, just enjoying the slower pace and admiring the big old style bungalows, I could understand why people love this place so much. It really is a quirky English experience. Coming up, I ride to Raub, check in at the coolest eco-friendly resort in Malaysia, and literally roll through the jungle in a Zorb ball. My next stop was Raub, an historic old gold mining town. Once again, my ride takes me through classic Malaysian countryside. Hundreds of acres of palm oil plantations stretched out either side of me. It's real plantation country, palm oil and rubber. I'm coming here to learn to appreciate my relationship with the land a bit more, without the rubber in between us. After an exciting ride down some dodgy roads, I managed to find my way here to this eco-friendly retreat called 8 Acres. I've always been interested in environmental conservation, so I thought this would be the perfect place for me to find out a little bit more about what we can do to better protect the world we live in. So I'm going to give myself a little tour around this place and see exactly what it is they do here. 8 Acres provides guests with a unique, eco-friendly homestay concept. They pride themselves on being almost completely self-sufficient and have even harnessed the river to create their own hydroelectric power. The power generated by this river is enough to run the entire resort, and they're completely off the electric grid. It's a place that was designed and constructed with the environment in mind at every step. Hi, this must be your place.
Hey, hello.
Hi, I'm Jamie.
Hi, Jimmy. I'm Cam.
Nice to meet you. What do you have
Yeah.
going on here?
I got a small vegetable plot here. I'm just trying to weed up some of the amended weeds here.
Oh, okay.
And you can see.
Oh, I see the vegetable. What kind is this?
It's a cucumber.
Cucumber.
Yeah.
So do you guys grow all your own food here? All your own vegetables?
We are in the process of trying to be self-sufficient, so that whatever vegetables you try to get from this land, not from outside. Would you like to harvest one of the cucumber?
Yeah, can I?
Why not? You just try
How
now.
do I snip it off?
You just clip it.
Just clip it here.
Yeah, clip it there.
Aye. Something about picking it yourself right out of the garden, it makes it taste that much better. As I found out, the vegetable project is only the beginning of this unique farm. They literally grow all their own food here, and it's totally organic, meaning 100% free of all chemicals and pesticides. They are currently at 50% self-sufficiency, but that number keeps rising. The temperate climate means they can grow the same vegetables and plants all year round, even these herbs and spices. Smells citrusy, like
Yeah, this is a form of
Lemon.
basil.
basil. This is
Yeah,
basil.
Isn't it? Ah,
Now I can taste it, yeah.
Yeah.
I tasted the basil.
yeah.
8 Acres was originally part of a much larger palm oil plantation until Mr. Cam's son purchased it a few years ago. Their dream is to rehabilitate this land to its original jungle state, no matter how long it takes. So, how do you build a jungle?
Oh, I planted a few hundred, almost 1,000 trees. We basically want to make this land back to its old form, trying to create a forest, which is difficult, but I think we have to start somewhere. Up to date, I've always got almost 1,000 trees planted. And some of these trees are endangered species.
Replanting an entire forest is no easy task. If you want to support the many animals and birds that a genuine jungle harbors, you're going to have to plant a wide variety of trees and plants. It's a very diverse ecosystem. It won't be done in Mr. Cam's lifetime, but by starting now, he may have something for his grandchildren to enjoy. These false lime trees are all planted here close together so they'll eventually grow, bear fruit, and attract birds to create a lovely home for them. Now, one really cool program they have here is you can actually adopt these trees. They'll put a little plaque on it with your name, and they'll keep in touch with you, email, photos, and let you know how your tree's doing. So I think it's an awesome idea to leave a piece of myself behind in Malaysia, so I'm gonna adopt this tree in the name of Ride N Seek. Aside from the eco angle, there are other activities. In Kelantan, I saw the pros doing their top spinning, but here at 8 Acres, they actually have some wooden gustings for us amateurs, so I actually get to try top spinning for myself. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but I'm definitely going to give it my best. Yay! Almost professional. And what would flora be without fauna? There are plenty of animals here as well, if you're able to get their attention, that is.
You have to call them like this. They'll come running, then only you feed them, okay?
Okay, they go dee 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 dee.
Both of us will call. Come.
Once I mastered the call, they came in droves. I had no idea there were so many ducks and geese around here. With the animals fed, there was just enough time to try something else. Something totally man-made and something I wasn't expecting to find on an eco-farm.
Just because it's eco-friendly doesn't mean it can't be exciting. Ever hear of a Zork ball?
Coming up on Ride N Seek, I splash down in a beautiful jungle paradise and then get airborne over KL in the air adventure of a lifetime. I was sad to leave the eco-cool of 8 acres, but I didn't want to be late for my next meeting. I've arranged to meet a flight instructor called Captain Andreas at my next stop in Burnham River. I've been told to look out for a small, hard-to-find airfield that's a lot harder than it sounds. Nothing like an iced tea and some inspirational videos to get you fired up and back on the road. One thing I have to say about Malaysia, it doesn't matter where you go, there's always something interesting that catches your eye. Sometimes just a few feet off the beaten track.
The best part about traveling the back roads of Malaysia by myself is I'm on my own schedule, and when I see a sign for something cool, I can just pull off the road and check it out. It's also 37 degrees Celsius, so when I see a sign for a waterfall, I'm definitely heading that way. And look what I found, it's awesome. I'm gonna jump in because I just can't wait. I'm dying of heat here. This is the only way to cool off in this part of the world. Woo! This water's pretty chilly.
Straight from the highlands and very refreshing, I felt like I was in my own personal swimming pool. I was hoping the local kids would come down and play, but I guess it must have been weird for them to see a strange woman splashing around in their backyard.
Oh, that felt amazing. But it's time to dry off and get back on the road.
Jungle pools like that are easy to spot when biking through Malaysia, but I wanted to see the country from a fresh perspective. I figured the best way to get a real sense of how big the jungle is was from the air, and now my mission was to get airborne. Time to earn my wings.
My aim here today is to get a bird's eye view of KL and the countryside. I really want to get up there and see what it's like to fly a plane, and there's a guy here named Captain Andreas who's promised to give me a flying lesson. And there's the man himself, Captain Andreas. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, but I've been on the road for so long, I feel like getting another view of the country.
A bird's eye view?
A bird's eye view is exactly what I'm looking for, but it's been a while since I've been in one of these planes. It's pretty small. I'm a little bit scared.
Well, it's not really a wide-body aircraft, but it's big. And it's big enough for you to take your first lesson.
So I can actually fly it myself?
Well, I'm gonna give you a crash course. And then you will be able to fly.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Okay, let's
well, I
try
better
out.
get my bike out of the way, right? I don't think we can take off.
You can't take it with you.
As with all good pilots, Captain Andreas started with the most important thing of all, pre-flight checks.
Let's do a pre-flight check together.
Okay.
And we have a look at things we need to have in order to have a safe flight. We have a look at this one here, it's our pitot, and that is measuring the airspeed. Let's see if that is free from any little insects. They love to go in and build nests over there, especially here in the tropics.
Looks clear, check.
Check. Okay, door horning 1. We're gonna suck on this one. If it makes a sound, that's a sound you hear before we crash the plane.
Oh, I don't want to hear that.
Okay, let's listen to it, what you don't want to hear.
Okay, I'm going to look out for that.
We're gonna look out for that. We don't want to hear it.
As Andreas took me through the pre-flight checks, he also showed me how the different parts of the plane affect the plane in flight. It's easy to remember when he shows you.
It's like dancing.
Well, I hope I fly better than I dance, because if I don't, we are in for a rough ride. With the external checks done, it was time to learn the instruments.
Artificial horizon, altitude, vertical speed indicator. I think we have done enough ground school. I think we learn by flying. Are you ready to fly?
I'm ready. I didn't get all that, but ain't nothing to it but to do it. Looks like I'm going flying.
With Captain Andreas at the controls, we started up, and chocks away, we were off. I was surprised to see how quickly we gained speed, and pretty soon we had liftoff. The captain promised me a bird's eye view of the country, and he certainly delivered. Until you get airborne, you really have no idea of what the country really looks like. My only concern was the poor visibility. We would have to keep a sharp lookout for other planes. True to his word, Captain Andreas handed over the controls to me, and we set course for Kuala Lumpur. I couldn't believe I was actually flying. I was feeling pretty confident and flying very well, I thought, until the captain just checked out, leaving me on my own.
I think maybe he ate some bad fish. Come back to me. I can't do this alone.
Without warning, I saw aircraft at 3 o'clock coming out of the sun. We were too close for missiles, so I switched to guns. Achtung, Spitfire, schnell, schnell! After a pretty intense dogfight, we were on the outskirts of KL, flying towards the city center. Then I saw them, the Petronas Twin Towers. Amazing! So close and at the same height. What an incredible way to see the capital city. I felt very privileged. It's just amazing to see a country from this perspective. But unfortunately, it was time for me to head back to my bike and continue the journey in a more conventional way.
Wow, that was so exciting. Best way to see the city and the countryside yet. Such a thrill. But speaking of thrills, since the captain and I are both heading back to KL, I offered to give him a race.
It was about 90 kilometers to KL, and we were in a race. Man against woman, bike against plane. An epic battle that would last at least until the end of the runway. Next week, I get up close and personal with Sarima Ibrahim, learn how to make Tay Tarek, and get on the bikes with the Red Warrior motorcycle stunt team.